Welcome to 24 Hour Sports. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Today I have the perfect Dallas Cowboys 2023 NFL Draft. And I want to preface this by saying a few things. I think this is a roster right now that's currently built, right now today, can go and compete in the NFC. They just traded for Brandon Cooks, so it was only fitting that I did this video today. And now it's up to Dak. You got everything. You've had talent throughout this, career that you've had up to this point, but it's never really turned into a championship. And I think right now is your window. And how does the perfect draft look for a team that's built to win? How can we improve this? What do we really need if we don't need anything necessarily? When I talk about the perfect draft for a team like the Dallas Cowboys, I think about three things. First thing I think about is, in 4 years, how will this pick look? And like I said, I'm not a big guy when it comes to stashing players, drafting a guy who's never going to play. I'm not big on that. But what I am big on, if we're going to get a guy and now we can sit him, we can play him sometimes in a rotation, we can get him on special teams, get his feet wet. Then in the coming seasons, when we got veterans like Stephon Gilmore, we got veterans like DeMarcus Lawrence, those type of guys. So when contracts come up, they're not getting any younger. How will we be built to last? And now I want to create a team that's built to last, has something that's going to work right now, and we still have the potential. So it doesn't have to be instant impact, but I still want to have a good player who, when Stephon Gilmore, DeMarcus Lawrence, any veteran leaves this room, we're still going to be all fine and dandy. So like I said, getting into my first pick, I got Calijah Kancey. And it's a kind of a weird thing for me with Calijah Kancey looking at his draft stock, because I think when we get around, Green Bay, teams in that area, then maybe somebody's going to get a Calijah Kancey. Just like Brian Branch, also guys who are very talented, but their draft stock due to their position and other things is kind of, questionable. You don't know exactly where they're going to go. I think Calijah Kancey is in that same ballpark, in that same room. And we get him in Dallas. We're a team, our mindset this season, we got Brandon Cooks, we got CeeDee Lamb, we got Michael Gallup, James Washington. We have a solid offense. So now when we have that, we're going to try to score. Like, we saw it last season. We're a top 5 scoring offense. We want to recreate that. And what do we do best? What do we do on defense? We're not trying to get you into a dog fight and let our linebackers, play against the run. We want to rush the passer. We want to get physical, take away your first read, take away the short intermediate routes. And we want to force you to throw it deep, force you to put the ball in harm's way. That's their type of game. That's what they're expecting to do. So Calijah Kancey coming in this team can be a starter, but he's also going to be in a bit of a rotation. You got Neville Gallimore, Dorrance Armstrong, any guy that you want to put on the inside, outside, mix and match. You have a violent pass rush when we get to the third down. So I think this is a sweet pick. Another guy who I was looking at this spot, Bryan Bresee. I think he's bigger, obviously, but I think he can offer you some more in the run game. Calijah Kancey, while he's not the biggest guy, about 6'1", 280, he's a finesse guy. He's a technician, and he uses his hands to the best of his ability. He's athletic. He makes up for all those deficiencies in every area that you could possibly think of. So let's get into my second pick, and this is where it got kind of interesting. I got Zach Charbonnet. It's not Bijan, who a lot of Cowboys fans want. It's not Jahmyr Gibbs, who some people also may want, but it's the same type of deal right behind that. I'm talking about the next tier under that. And we got Zach Charbonnet. We bring him in with Tony Pollard. Zach Charbonnet is never going to be the guy who's breaking off 60 to 70-yard runs. That's where you keep Tony Pollard. And with his contract situation, you just tagged him. Like I said, I'm weary. I don't know if the Cowboys have a mindset that where they want to pay Tony Pollard to a significant deal. So maybe if you get into a situation like this, you can pay, this tag, and then we get Zach Charbonnet, bring him in. We still going to have that rushing attack, that 1-2 punch. Not a lot of bell cows left in the NFL. We get outside of a Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, and even Nick Chubb shares carries at times. So now we got this. We got the run game. We got the receivers. It's all about Dak. And I think this puts us in a prime position. We can even look at Dwayne McBride. Devin Achane, don't really think he's a fit for what this team needs. But I think Zach Charbonnet, he's a guy who can average 5 a pop, who can give you a little bit in the receiving game. So when he comes in the game, we talk about these backup running backs like a Jamal Williams, like some other guys who back up these prominent running backs, these feature backs. They're coming in for one thing and one thing only. Zach Charbonnet can come in for a multitude of things. So that's keeping us honest as a defense, and that's allowing the Dallas Cowboys to play to their strength, do what they want to do, have the ball in their court. So now going into my next pick, I said we want to be good 4 years from now. We want to have a guy who's in a rotation right now, but when we talk about a couple years down the road, you still have an extremely high upside. Some players, it's all about the right situation. Eli Ricks is one of those guys. A great scheme fit. Coming out of high school, a 5-star recruit, one of the best corners who we thought would ever be in college. It didn't pan out that way. Played at LSU, transferred to Alabama. Thought he should have went to Alabama to begin with, but here nor there. Now has a mid-round draft stock. We're bringing him in with a 3rd round, 90 overall pick, and this is an absolute steal because I think this is the right situation for him. He's a press man corner. This is what we're going to allow him to do. Stephon Gilmore, those type of guys, what do they like to do? Trayvon Diggs, he's that ball hawk. And then, like I said, Stephon Gilmore is 32. He's not getting any younger, so we could bring him in. You mix and match. You learn it from Trayvon. You learn it from Stephon. You got all the traits and tools. You got the long arms. You're 6'2", close to 200 pounds. You can be that prototypical corner. And I think playing Daron Bland in the nickel, playing him in the slot, we got those safeties. We got Javon Curse. We got Donovan Wilson, Malik Hooker. We're solid in the secondary. So we add you, and now we're feeling really, really good, even if guys get injured, because we saw it. Anthony Brown went down and everything fell apart. So if Stephon Gilmore falls down at 32 years of age, which is very possible, we don't want it to all fall down. We don't want to move Daron Bland back out to the outside. So now this is a great value pick. And like I said, a team that I believe doesn't really have major problems at any position. This is a good pick. Now, I want to talk about 2 things before I get into our next pick. You may see there's no offensive line, no Osiris Torrance. You may see there's no linebacker. There's no Dayan Henley. I really seriously wanted to get Dayan Henley for this team. I thought it would be a good fit, but the way the draft board lines up, the way our picks line up, we can't get him. Also, another guy who I liked and wanted to get is Osiris Torrance, Steve Avila. We can add that, but I think what the Cowboys want to do, they're going to play Terrence Steele. He's coming back healthy. He's going to be that right tackle. You know, we had Tyler Smith. He played all of training camp at left guard. He's going to be that left guard. He feels comfortable there. And they also said, Mike McCarthy and the guys, they said he played well. He's had a great showing at left guard, so we put him there. And then we're going to play Tyron Smith at left tackle. We still got Zach Martin. Connor McGovern went to the Buffalo Bills. We still got Biotis. We're feeling really good. And one thing I do want to say, I think sometimes it's all about putting your best 5 out there. We drafted Tyler Smith, but right now he can play left guard. Tyron Smith can play left tackle. Terrence Steele can play right tackle, and we got our best 5 on the field. That's what it's about. Sometimes we talk about positionless basketball. Just for an analogy, we don't have a traditional point guard, center, shooting guard, but we got our best 5 out there, and now we playing ball. We clicking seamlessly. Getting into my next pick, I got Gerard Clark, and this isn't a flashy pick. This isn't really a dominant pick, anything that we want, but I look at our team. Last year, we scrambled. We really scrambled for a Jonathan Hankins. We were looking for anything that we could possibly get, because we didn't have a true nose tackle. We didn't have any true depth there. I think Neville Gallimore is pretty solid, but is he really going to hold up, consistently against those double teams, against the run? I don't know if he's that guy. And looking at it, we got Neville Gallimore, we got Dorrance Armstrong, Quentin Bohanna, Chauncey Golston. I wouldn't say this is a bad defensive line rotation on the interior, but I think you add in Gerard Clark. And while I'm going to say it, I'm going to just be the first one to say it. He has some things he needs to work on. I think he can work on anchoring better because you have the size. You don't have an ideal, tree trunk legs or whatever like that. But you got the size, and you're a hard man to move. So if you can work on your play strength, anchoring, getting your hips, playing with leverage, using your hands, I don't see no reason why you can't come in, click, and be a rotation. This is a team that couldn't stop the run last year. I made multiple videos on it. They had Anthony Barr. They moved Micah back to Sam linebacker. It just didn't work, no matter what you try to do. And I think that starts with the defensive line, fixing that interior, adding those guys. Another year with Dan Quinn, we're going to be even better in this scheme. I think this is a pretty solid pick who some people may have questions about, but that's why I did it. I want to get that nose tackle, and I want him to hold the point, push the point, because I believe we're in a position where we can take a guy like this. Even if he's not a perfect prospect, I think he has value on this team this year. And if he gets in the right coaching scheme, we're working with him, we're fixing the deficiencies in his game, I think we can really have something special at that nose position. So now, getting into my next pick, and you're going to see 2 picks right here, but today they traded. The Cowboys, they traded when they got Brandon Cooks, they traded a 5th and a 6th round pick. So just disregard that 5th and 6th round pick, but with the 5th that they have left, I drafted linebacker Dorian Williams out of Tulane. Athletic linebacker, not the biggest guy. I think along with interior defensive line, this is your biggest hole, if not your second biggest hole. I think it's 1A, 1B when we're talking about deficiencies on the Cowboys. So now I got him. I think, you play him. He just adds depth. He can also be a special team right away. I've been saying this about him, but he can add depth. We talk about Jabril Cox. We talk about it's not a lot there left. I don't think Anthony Barr, unless he comes back on a cheap deal, he's not there anymore. You had to re-sign Leighton Vander Esch. Leighton Vander Esch is not the greatest linebacker. I've been saying that. His eyes, he's not disciplined in his run fits against gaps. He's athletic. He can make all the plays, but in the mind, playing linebacker is sometimes more of a mind thing than an on-the-field thing. And now we got this, Damone Clark. So we're going to try to mix and match. We're going to try to make this thing work. I think Jabril Cox and Damone Clark have a bunch of promise at the position, but it's all about how does it work? How does training camp look? We bring in Dorian Williams to challenge them a little bit, see what we got going into the season. Probably going to need to add a veteran in that room. You made the move for Anthony Barr. It was an all right move. I wasn't too high on it, wasn't too low on it. It was a solid move. Didn't make much of a difference in stopping the run. So now going with my last pick, I got Chandler Zavala. Pretty solid guy, smart guy, strong guy, can add some play strength, but looking at his frame, he's a taller guard, about 6'5", doesn't have the longest arms. He's about 330, but he's athletic. And I think he can move in space, can get on some blocks. When I get him here, I think he's a true left guard. We add him right here, and this is depth. Because if Tyron Smith gets hurt, we can kick back. We can put Tyler Smith back at left tackle. We can just kick in Chandler Zavala at left guard. And now at right guard, we still got Martin. Or even if we got to do it, we can kick him to right guard if it comes to a crunch. We still got Terrence Steele. If Zach Martin gets hurt, we still got Tyler Biadasz, who I think is the anchor in the middle of that thing. So this was a pick right here. And I think he's an absolute steal at this spot. Pretty solid player. Not a high-end player, but he's going to get it done. And he's going to do it at a special level. Like I said, smart, can pick up blitzes. Really, really like this pick. And I think he may even go higher than this when we get to the actual draft. Because like I said, he's one of those guys. We talking about the, back end of the draft, undrafted free agent, 6th, 7th round. I think it's a lot of steals in that range, in that area. So it's going to be interesting what teams do. There's going to be a heavy competitive training camp, and I'm ready to see it. So this is what I have. And when we look at my grades for these picks, got an A+ for Kalijah Cansey, C- for Zach Charbonnet. I strongly disagree with that because I think he's a top 5, top 3 running back in this class. So we add him with Tony Pollard. They still have to add depth at that running back position because this is a team that likes that 1-2 punch. Got Malik Davis, but we need more. And now got Eli Ricks an A grade. Got Gerard Clark a C. Like I said, it can be, a pretty questionable pick, but I think it's pretty solid for what we need. Somebody that's going to play that nose position. It's a need. They can't ignore it. So now got Dorian Williams A+. And then we got Chandler Zavala, another A+. You got an overall grade of an A+. And this is the first time I've ever gotten that in a mock draft. So let's just clap it up for that. Clap it up for me getting an A+ in a mock draft for the first time. Feel really good about this one. But Cowboys fans, let me know what you think because I'm open to hear it. And that's going to do it for today. Thank you for watching as always. Don't forget to subscribe. We out.